I agree, she should have won. I nearly left on week 2.
Really?
I did, yeah.
And that was the acting challenge?
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, you smashed it.
But what I mean is the things that you don't see,
Yeah.
those were what induced that reaction. And so every time after a challenge, whether we'd won or, whether I'd won or not, when Vivian particularly, when she was asked who do you think it should have been, I was always like 3rd or 4th or 5th in the row, whether I'd won or not. So I don't know whether that was part of her game plan, to just make me feel like but I did allow that to have power.
Like, why do you feel like you needed that validation?
Well, because we've been friends for such a long time.
Yeah.
I've known Viv longer than anybody else. We've known each other for like 13, 14 years. And so for somebody who you class as a friend to treat you that way, it makes you feel like, oh, actually, did I know you at all? Was this the relationship that I thought that, we'd been and had dinner and stuff. I've been around her house
And the other thing is as well, because Crystal mentioned this a bit about sort of her relationships with the Queens, is it's just you lot together, isn't it? And and she's mentioned, if maybe there were a couple of her friends that were there as well, it might have helped her with her confidence. It is, I kind of understand why you are looking for validation, because these are the only other people
around
you can get feedback off of other than the judges, right?
Yeah.
And it's heightened energy, it's
Yeah.
nervous.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's all water under the bridge. I don't really care. But it's such a little pressure cooker that you're just like,
Yeah.
So.
And so you and Viv are okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God, I love the bones of the girl.
Yeah.
And I agree she should have won.
Some of the things you've spoken about have just touched so many of the fans. I'm the sort of same age as you when you were talking about Section 28 and the impact that had on anybody growing up in that. What has been the sort of feedback from your fans and people out there to some of the stuff you've been saying?
One of the producers was talking to me last night and he said he didn't think that he'd ever seen it articulated in that way on TV, ever. That the actual effect that legislation had on people like us. Because essentially we were erased. And if you don't teach people about stuff, then that's where you end up, you make bullies. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. Because everybody's weird, aren't they, at school? And then you add that on top and suddenly you're like, oh my God, what are you? So it's been amazing. So many people have been really generous with their messages, just saying, thank you for articulating what my story is as well.
And educating, I think, because I don't say I'm young, but people my age or even younger might not really have a clue what that is.
Well, I think
do you know what I mean?
Blue that didn't quite understand what it was.
A lot of straight people had no idea.
Not a clue.
Of our generation had no idea that was a thing. They just didn't think it was.
Do you know what was lovely? That it wasn't a negative chat. It was, you were very like, I'm looking forward to the future, and it was very hopeful. And I think that was what was different, because it is horrific and like it's stupid that was even a thing. But we never hear about the hope, and I thought that was really beautiful.
Well, like even at school, I got all of it. And that was fine, because I would rather it was me who's going to go home and be fine than somebody who's going to go home and hang themselves, And that was my attitude at the time as a 15-year-old. I was like, okay, my shoulders are broad enough for this. That's okay. I would rather it was me than, him or him who I know are not going to manage with that.
There were lots of people online that really wanted you to win. What would you like to say to all of those fans about that?
I would like to say thank you so much for all of the support. Like, it's been absolutely mental. I've worked with so many other American girls, and so I know what the fandom can be like. And like I said, I've had nothing but love. I've had 2 nasty messages.
Is that it?
That's it.
So
if you have a nasty message, feel free to send it through so I don't feel left out. But thank you so much for all of the support and the love. It's been genuinely overwhelming. And I'm so looking forward to the rest of this journey with all of you.
Oh, yeah.
And be nice to everybody else. Don't be horrible to people. You don't have to be nasty to someone to lift somebody else up.